Have you ever wondered why a snail's shell curls so perfectly? Or why a flower unfolds in a pattern that seems almost magical? Why do rivers split and branch like veins? Or clouds stretch across the sky in shapes that both surprise and soothe? Tonight, we'll explore the quiet secrets behind these shapes, the patterns that nature whispers to those who look closely enough. Welcome to the thoughtful night, a place where curiosity drifts gently into calm, and wonder becomes a soft companion for sleep. Wherever you are watching from, whether your room is quiet or the world hums softly outside, take a deep breath, notice the shapes around you, and feel free to leave a comment sharing the pattern that has always caught your eye. And if you enjoy traveling through the hidden geometries of our world, subscribing will let you join us for more nights of gentle exploration. Tonight, we will wander together through spirals, waves, branches, and crystals. We'll follow shapes as they grow in forests, rivers, clouds, and even the distant stars. Each curve, each angle, tells a story of life, energy, and quiet balance. A story written in the language of the universe itself. As you settle into your favorite spot, let your mind soften and your eyes rest. Imagine the world around you slowly unfolding. The leaves of trees spiraling toward the sunlight, the river carving paths through stones, the snowflakes falling in perfect geometric patterns. These are not just random accidents. They are the choices of nature, whispered in a code of efficiency, beauty, and endless curiosity. And as we journey through these patterns tonight, notice how they appear in places you might never expect. In the veins of a leaf, in the swirls of a galaxy, even in the shapes of your own fingertips, nature repeats her lessons over and over. She shows us that the world is made of forms that are both practical and poetic, functional and enchanting. So, allow yourself to drift along these shapes. Let your imagination wander freely, and your body relax into the rhythm of the world's quiet geometry. Each chapter we explore together will be like walking through a different landscape, from the tiniest crystal to the vastness of the sky, revealing why there are so many shapes in nature, and why they matter to us, in ways both seen and unseen. Tonight, we are not just observing shapes. We are listening to their stories, feeling the gentle pulse of patterns, and letting them guide us toward a calm, wonder-filled sleep. Step softly into the quiet corners of the natural world, where shapes seem to whisper secrets older than any memory. Walk along the edge of a forest, trace the veins of a leaf, or peer into a garden where flowers sway gently in the breeze. There, in the small and the familiar, you begin to notice something extraordinary: patterns. Shapes appear not by chance, but as if nature has chosen them carefully, like a composer arranging notes for a symphony that is both practical and beautiful. Take a honeybee's hive, for instance. Each cell of a honeycomb forms a hexagon, precise and elegant. The hexagon is no random choice. It is the most efficient way to store honey while using the least wax. Here, geometry serves survival, yet it also delivers an unexpected beauty, the kind that hums quietly in the mind. The pattern repeats, not because bees have an aesthetic preference, but because evolution has rewarded a shape that balances strength and economy. Spirals, too, are everywhere. Look at the coiled shell of a snail, the unfurling of a fern frond, or the arrangement of sunflower seeds. These shapes carry the rhythm of growth, unfolding according to rules that are at once mathematical and poetic. The Fibonacci sequence, a string of numbers where each is the sum of the two before it, often appears in these natural spirals. It is a reminder that even in the randomness of life, there is a subtle order. Each curve, each twist, allows the organism to grow without wasting space, to capture light, energy, or nourishment with quiet efficiency. Radial symmetry offers another kind of harmony. Imagine a daisy, its petals radiating outward from a central point, each one echoing the shape of the next. This symmetry is not only pleasing to the eye but also functional. It allows flowers to present themselves perfectly to pollinators, to optimize light, or to endure the forces of wind and rain. Even in creatures, radial symmetry, seen in starfish or jellyfish, helps distribute sensory and feeding structures evenly, a delicate balance between survival and elegance. And yet, geometry in life is never rigid. While patterns provide efficiency, Nature allows for variation, for improvisation within a frame. No two shells are exactly alike. No two flowers perfectly mirror each other, even within the same species. This subtle imperfection is part of the beauty, a gentle reminder that the world is alive, and life resists being constrained entirely by rules. The golden ratio, a mathematical proportion often found in living things, reflects this harmony, never identical yet always resonant. As you breathe slowly and listen to the quiet pulse of your surroundings, notice how these shapes invite reflection. The hexagon, the spiral, the radial symmetry, they are lessons in balance, efficiency, and resilience. They show us that nature, in its quiet wisdom, often chooses solutions that are both practical and aesthetically pleasing, merging the poetry of form with the rigor of function. Consider, for a moment, the spiral once more. It is not only a form of growth but a path of energy. Each turn carries a subtle rhythm, a whisper of the forces that shape life: light, water, gravity, and time. These patterns are a dialogue between matter and energy, a conversation that stretches from the tiniest seed to the tallest tree. In this light, every shape becomes more than geometry. It becomes a story, a record of growth and adaptation that unfolds with every season, every heartbeat, every moment. Even in the quietest corners, in the unnoticed or overlooked, geometry leaves its mark. The way moss creeps along a stone, the pattern of ripples left by raindrops in a puddle, the tessellations of lichen on a bark. All are small reflections of the same principles that govern honeycombs, shells, and flowers. Patterns are everywhere because the world itself is a system of repeating rules, shaped by energy, time, and survival. Yet within these rules, there is endless variation, and it is in this dance between order and freedom that life finds its quiet poetry. So as you settle deeper into your space, allow your mind to trace these forms. Imagine following the spiral of a shell inward, walking along the branches of a tree as if you were part of its fractal pattern, watching petals unfold under the sun. Notice how shapes connect the practical with the beautiful, the necessary with the enchanting. They are a gentle reminder that even in the smallest corners of the world, there is structure, balance, and wonder. Tonight, as you drift towards sleep, carry this vision of geometry with you. Think of shapes not only as forms, but as messages: the hexagon whispering efficiency, the spiral humming growth, the radial symmetry singing balance. They tell the story of life itself, written in angles and curves, in repetition and variation, in quiet resilience. The world is a tapestry of patterns, each one carefully chosen by nature, yet each one open to endless interpretation by the observer who pauses to notice. And so, in this soft, meditative moment, you can rest within the shapes, letting them guide your imagination and calm your mind. For in the geometry of life, there is not only science, but a subtle poetry, a gentle, endless invitation to wonder. Look closely at the curl of a snail's shell, and you may find yourself tracing a line that seems to spiral endlessly, a quiet dance of growth winding outward from a hidden center. This same shape appears in the seeds of a sunflower, the arms of a galaxy, and even in the swirl of a storm over the ocean. Spirals are everywhere, connecting the tiniest living creatures to the vastest reaches of space. They are nature's way of tracing energy, growth, and time, a visual rhythm that bridges micro and macro scales with astonishing elegance. The mathematics behind these spirals is as precise as it is poetic. Logarithmic spirals, where each curve grows in proportion to the last, appear naturally because they allow growth without disruption. A seed head can pack thousands of tiny seeds, each following a curve dictated by the Fibonacci sequence, creating a spiral that maximizes space and sunlight. Similarly, the arms of a galaxy extend outward in a logarithmic spiral, distributing stars and gas in a way that balances gravity, rotation, and energy. Across scales, the same principle emerges. Spirals are efficient, stable, and resilient. Imagine walking along a beach and picking up a shell. The spiral is not random. It records the history of the creature's growth, the slow accumulation of calcium layers over weeks, months, or years. Each twist is a moment, a measure of time, a trace of the forces that guided the organism. Spiral shapes also carry energy, allowing creatures to grow without overlapping or wasting space, turning a practical solution into a quiet visual poetry. The Fibonacci spiral, the golden ratio, and other mathematical forms hidden within these curves create a subtle resonance, something that feels naturally pleasing even if the mind cannot name it. Galaxies, in their immense scale, mirror these same spirals. The arms of the Milky Way, the whirl of the Whirlpool Galaxy, the twist of distant pinwheel galaxies, all unfold in similar patterns. Here, gravity, angular momentum, and the motion of countless stars choreograph the spiral. The same principles that guide a shell or a sunflower seed appear on cosmic scales, as if the universe itself repeats a design it has perfected through billions of years. In this reflection, you can begin to sense a profound connection. From the smallest snail to the largest galaxy, life and matter dance to the same spiraling rhythm. Spirals also carry a sense of motion, even when still. A shell resting in your hand seems alive, as though the growth within it might continue at any moment. A galaxy far away, captured in the lens of a telescope, appears to rotate slowly, its arms reaching outward like gentle hands pushing against the void. Spirals are dynamic shapes, a visual echo of energy in motion, yet they remain grounded in patterns that are comprehensible and elegant. They are reminders that life unfolds, grows, and stretches outward in harmony with natural laws. Notice how energy flows along a spiral. In a tornado, wind sweeps upward in a spiraling column. In water draining from a basin, liquid curls around an invisible axis. In shells, the organism adds layer after layer along the curve. These movements reflect the efficiency of spirals. They distribute force, energy, and material in ways that conserve effort and maximize growth. The same principle shapes rivers, hurricanes, and galaxies, connecting phenomena that might seem unrelated, but are bound by the geometry of spirals. Poetically, the spiral can feel like a story of emergence and continuity. Each turn leads to the next, a gentle unfolding that never ends, yet each layer is built upon the one before. It invites reflection. The path of growth, the passage of time, the way energy moves through life and space. To watch a spiral is to witness a rhythm that stretches across scales, from the quiet turn of a fern frond to the grand arcs of distant stars. There is a meditative quality to this observation, a sense of being part of a greater unfolding, where each moment, each curve, is linked to everything around it. Even in art and culture, humans have long recognized the magic of spirals. Ancient carvings, architectural motifs, and symbolic representations often echo these shapes. They speak to an intuitive understanding of balance, growth, and flow, lessons drawn directly from observing the natural world. The spiral is both practical and poetic, a pattern that teaches without words, inviting the observer to notice connections, rhythms, and harmony. Spirals in nature are never exactly the same. No two snail shells curl identically. No two galactic arms follow the exact same path. This variation is part of the beauty, a reminder that patterns in nature are not rigid, but adaptive, responding to circumstances, environment, and energy. The Fibonacci sequence provides guidance, not dictatorship, allowing each spiral to reflect both universal principles and local circumstances. It is a balance of structure and freedom, order and creativity. As you close your eyes and imagine these spirals, picture tracing one with your finger, from the center outward, following its smooth, expanding curve. Feel the continuity of energy, the quiet logic of growth, and the poetic beauty of this simple, elegant form. Whether in a shell on the shore or a galaxy millions of light years away, the spiral is a dance that links the small to the vast, the fleeting to the eternal. Tonight, let the spiral guide your thoughts as you drift towards sleep. Imagine the gentle unfolding of curves in shells, plants, storms, and galaxies. Each spiral is a thread connecting life and matter, energy and form, growth and motion. In their quiet elegance, they remind us that the universe is both comprehensible and wondrous, that order and beauty coexist, and that every curve is part of a story much larger than ourselves. Look at a tree in winter. its bare branches reaching outward like delicate fingers against the sky. Or watch a river from above, its main channel splitting again and again into streams, each smaller branch carrying water farther into the land. Even inside your own body, veins and arteries form branching networks that deliver life to every fingertip and toe. Branching is one of nature's most common strategies, a pattern that appears across scales to move matter, energy, and information efficiently. It is both functional and profoundly beautiful, a quiet geometry that repeats in forests, rivers, lungs, and blood. Branching follows simple principles, yet it creates infinite variety. A single trunk can give rise to countless twigs. A major river can produce thousands of tiny tributaries. The branching pattern distributes resources where they are needed most, minimizing waste and energy while maximizing reach. In trees, each branch allows leaves to capture sunlight without overshadowing others. In rivers, each tributary spreads water and nutrients across the floodplain. Even in your own circulatory system, branching ensures oxygen reaches every cell. Efficiency and elegance converge in these networks, turning necessity into art. Consider rivers as living veins of the land. A river begins as a trickle, fed by rainfall or melting snow, and then finds paths of least resistance, carving channels into soil and rock. Tributaries form naturally, splitting and recombining, creating a fractal-like network that looks almost identical whether viewed from miles above or in close-up. These branching patterns are governed by simple physical laws. Water follows gravity, erodes soft soil faster than hard, and always seeks the path that balances flow and energy. The result is a landscape etched in repeating forms, patterns that echo the design of a leaf or the capillaries in your lungs. Trees, too, grow in accordance with branching logic. A seedling sends out roots to anchor and absorb nutrients, while its first stem rises skyward. Branches fan out to catch light, then twigs sprout, each following the same rules in miniature. The fractal nature of this growth allows the tree to expand without losing structural integrity, to capture sunlight efficiently while remaining stable. The pattern of branching is not random. It is a carefully balanced negotiation between biology, physics, and environment. Even the curve of a branch, the angle between twigs, and the thickness of the trunk are all optimized over time, responding to wind, weight, and gravity. Inside your body, branching is everywhere. Your lungs are a tree of tubes, starting with the trachea and dividing endlessly into bronchi, bronchioles, and alveoli, increasing surface area for gas exchange. Your circulatory system, arteries branching into arterioles, veins into venules, forms a network that sustains life. The nervous system, too, branches in every direction, sending signals to coordinate movement, sensation, and thought. These networks all share the same principle: to reach every point efficiently while conserving energy. Nature reuses this branching design over and over because it works, because it is both simple and endlessly adaptable. Branching patterns are also fractals, shapes that repeat at different scales. The smallest capillaries resemble the shape of rivers, which in turn mirror the branching of a large watershed. Each level reflects the one above, scaled down or up, a harmony of repetition and variation. This repetition creates visual rhythm, something humans have noticed for millennia. In art and architecture, in symbolic motifs, and in cultural representations, branching shapes resonate because they are familiar, because they echo patterns found in the world around us. There is a meditative quality in noticing branching. Trace a river on a map, from main channel to smallest tributary, and you see how energy flows across the land. Follow a tree from trunk to branch to leaf, and you witness the movement of light and life. Imagine your own veins, pulsing quietly, carrying blood, nutrients, and oxygen to sustain every cell. In these networks, order emerges from complexity, and efficiency merges with beauty. Branching is both a practical strategy and a symbol of connection, showing how every part of a system relies on every other. Even storms and lightning follow branching patterns. A lightning bolt forks through the sky, splitting repeatedly, forming a temporary network of energy that mirrors the structures of rivers, trees, and veins. Nature seems to favor this design because it distributes energy and matter in a way that is both predictable and adaptable. Efficiency drives the form, but the form itself carries an aesthetic of balance and rhythm that captivates the observer. Branching is functional, yet it feels alive, almost intentional, even in processes that are not conscious. Notice how these networks grow over time. A tree's branches extend slowly, responding to sunlight and wind. Rivers carve deeper channels over centuries, guided by gravity and erosion. Blood vessels develop with the needs of the body, forming more branches as tissues grow. Branching is an ongoing process, a story written in space, energy, and material. Each split, each fork, each taper is a chapter in that story, reflecting both universal principles and local circumstances. As you prepare to drift into sleep, imagine yourself floating above a forest, rivers, and cities, seeing the branching patterns that connect everything. Feel the gentle pulse of blood moving through your veins, the slow growth of branches, the quiet flow of rivers. Each network is a testament to the logic and beauty of branching, a reminder that efficiency and elegance often walk hand in hand. In these forms, the universe speaks a silent language, one of connection, distribution, and the continuous unfolding of life. Tonight, let the branching patterns guide your thoughts. Picture them in trees, rivers, your own body, and beyond. Feel their quiet rhythm, their fractal repetition, their endless capacity to reach outward while remaining whole. Branching is everywhere, a bridge from the smallest scale to the largest, from life to landscape to sky. In observing it, you witness a deep harmony, a network of patterns that links all things in a single, graceful logic. Close your eyes and imagine a pebble dropped into still water. Ripples spread outward, circles expanding, fading yet continuing, moving energy across the surface without carrying matter along. This simple observation introduces one of nature's most pervasive patterns: waves. Waves appear in oceans, rivers, air, and even light itself, carrying energy, information, and motion in a rhythm that is both predictable and endlessly varied. They are movement made visible, sound made tangible, light made perceptible. A subtle, flowing language of the universe. Water waves are the most familiar. On a lake at dawn, a gentle breeze touches the surface, creating a dance of small ripples. Larger waves form in the ocean, driven by wind or tides, each crest rising and falling in a continuous cycle. Waves transport energy across distances, allowing the ocean to interact with the shore, to sculpt sand and rock over centuries. Yet the water itself does not travel far. Instead, energy moves, circling and spiraling, a transmission of force that connects distant points with invisible threads. Sound waves are similar, though invisible. Vibrations in air molecules carry music from a violin, words from a voice, the subtle hum of the world around you. The waves move outward, compressing and rarefying the medium, transmitting information in a pattern we interpret with ears and brain. Sound waves, like ripples on water, show that motion and energy can exist independently of mass moving across space. Waves are the universe whispering, transmitting stories and messages across distances we cannot see, yet always perceive if we listen closely. Light, too, travels as a wave. Sunlight streaming through a window is a cascade of electromagnetic waves, oscillating electric and magnetic fields moving together in perfect harmony. Unlike water or sound, light requires no medium. It moves through the vacuum of space, reaching planets, illuminating landscapes, and touching every living being. Its waves carry energy across millions of kilometers, painting the sky at sunrise and sunset, revealing the colors of the world, guiding life through vision and warmth. Light waves are both particle and wave, a duality that invites wonder and contemplation, showing that waves are not only patterns of motion but patterns of possibility. Waves can interfere, overlap, and combine. Two ripples on a pond may meet, their crests reinforcing or canceling each other, creating patterns that shift and dance. Sound waves can harmonize or clash, producing chords or dissonance. Light waves interfere to form colorful patterns, rainbows, and shimmering reflections. The principle of interference shows that waves are not solitary. They interact, responding to one another in ways both subtle and profound. Through interference, waves create new forms, adding richness and complexity to the patterns we see and hear. Waves also propagate rhythm and time. Ocean tides rise and fall in cycles set by the moon, a wave of gravitational energy moving across the planet. Sound waves carry music that marks beats and phrases, shaping our perception of rhythm. Light waves oscillate with precise frequencies, defining color and warmth. Even the smallest waves at the quantum level vibrate with patterns that determine the behavior of particles and atoms. Waves connect events across space and time, allowing cause and effect to ripple outward in patterns that sustain life and structure. Consider waves in motion through different media. A wave in the ocean moves slower in shallow water and faster in deep water. Sound travels faster through metal than through air. Light bends when it moves from air into water, a refraction that changes its direction while preserving its oscillation. Waves respond to their environment, adapting, reflecting, refracting, and diffracting. Their movement is not chaotic but guided by the properties of the medium, revealing a balance between freedom and constraint, between energy and form. Waves are also cyclical, with crests and troughs, highs and lows. This rhythm repeats endlessly, a heartbeat of the natural world. Ocean waves wash over the shore, pulling back only to return. Sound waves rise and fall in patterns of pitch and tone. Light waves oscillate billions of times per second, invisible yet constant. This cyclicality carries information and energy while providing a subtle sense of predictability and comfort. In waves, the universe shows that movement can be both dynamic and reliable, chaotic and rhythmic, fleeting and eternal. Even at the edge of perception, waves connect us to the larger cosmos. The sunlight that warms your skin began its journey millions of kilometers away. The sound of wind through trees is a wave traveling through molecules you can feel but do not see. A distant storm sends ocean waves across the sea, connecting shores that may never meet. Waves are the medium through which the universe communicates, translating energy into patterns, movement into perception, and distance into connection. Tonight, as you drift towards sleep, imagine yourself floating atop gentle water, listening to waves lap quietly against the shore. Hear the wind's vibrations, feel the rhythm of your own heartbeat echoing as an internal wave. See sunlight filtering through leaves in soft oscillations of color. Waves are everywhere, moving through your body, your mind, the world around you. They remind you that energy flows continuously, connecting everything in a cycle of motion, carrying information, life, and light. In these patterns, the universe moves with grace, and you move with it, part of the ceaseless, gentle dance of waves. Close your eyes and imagine a butterfly resting on a leaf. Its wings, painted in intricate patterns of color, mirror each other almost perfectly. Each side reflects the other in delicate balance, a silent conversation between left and right, above and below. This is symmetry, one of nature's most subtle and profound designs. A quiet language that speaks of health, balance, and order. Symmetry appears in countless forms across the living world. Bilateral symmetry, like that of the butterfly, dominates animals. Left and right sides echo one another, from the gentle curve of a fish's body to the human form, where our eyes, ears, and limbs mirror each other. Radial symmetry appears in flowers, starfish, and sea urchins, spinning outward from a central point in repeated patterns that welcome the world from every direction. Rotational symmetry, where shapes repeat as they turn around a center, is found in sunflowers, pine cones, and galaxies, offering the eye a rhythm that feels harmonious without conscious thought. From an evolutionary perspective, symmetry is more than beauty, it is a signal. A perfectly balanced form can indicate health, genetic fitness, or efficiency in movement. Birds with symmetrical feathers fly more smoothly. Fish with balanced fins swim more effectively. Even in humans, studies show that symmetry is often unconsciously associated with attractiveness, vitality, and well-being. Nature, it seems, rewards those who maintain balance, whose patterns align with the subtle rules of form and function. Yet symmetry is never exact. Examine the wings of that butterfly closely. One wing may have a slightly different spot, a hint of imperfection. That is the grace of life. Nature uses symmetry as a guideline, not a strict rule. The irregularities tell stories of survival, of adaptation, of the unique path each organism has taken. In the human body, no face is perfectly symmetrical. In a forest, no leaf mirrors another exactly. And perhaps that is why symmetry comforts us. It is familiar, predictable, and reassuring, yet it allows for individuality and surprise. Symmetry also speaks in life's endings. Consider the delicate skeletons of animals or the fossilized remains of plants. Even in death, symmetry remains. A mirror of the life that once was, a quiet echo of form preserved in stone or bone. It is as if the universe whispers that balance is eternal, that the patterns we notice in life persist even when matter itself changes. In the spiral of a snail shell, the branching of a tree, or the human ribcage, symmetry frames life and death alike, bridging the physical and the poetic. Poets and scientists alike have long marveled at symmetry. Leonardo da Vinci studied the human form, sketching proportions that follow mathematical ratios. Biologists measure symmetry to understand growth and evolution. Artists and architects use symmetry to create structures that resonate with the human eye. Across cultures and centuries, the attraction to symmetry is universal, reminding us that our perception of beauty is intertwined with patterns in the natural world. Yet symmetry is never rigid. It bends, twists, and flows with life. The petals of a flower open toward sunlight, slightly tilting to catch warmth. The branches of a tree stretch toward the sky, balancing weight with gravity. Even the human heartbeat follows rhythmic symmetry while accommodating subtle variations that keep life moving. Symmetry, therefore, is not a static template. It is a living dialogue between order and chaos, repetition and difference. There is comfort in observing symmetry, a gentle reassurance that balance exists even amid complexity. Look at a field of daisies, radial flowers turning toward the sun, each one repeating a familiar pattern yet slightly unique. Look at a pair of eyes in a face, mirrored reflections that guide perception and expression. Symmetry guides our understanding, providing a sense of coherence in a world that is otherwise dynamic and unpredictable. Tonight, as you drift towards sleep, imagine symmetry all around you. Feel the balance of your own body, left and right, top and bottom. Picture trees whose branches mirror each other, waves that rise and fall in rhythmic repetition, and clouds whose shapes echo faintly across the sky. Reflect on the subtle irregularities that make each form unique, and notice how the universe uses symmetry as both structure and song. A quiet melody that comforts, guides, and inspires. Symmetry comforts us, like a familiar melody, yet nature never repeats exactly. It is a balance between the known and the unknown, a harmony of life and death, order and variation. And as you listen to the gentle rhythms of your own breath, you can sense yourself as part of this cosmic symmetry, a living pattern that participates in the ongoing dance of life. Beneath your feet, the earth holds a hidden geometry, a quiet order waiting to be discovered. Rocks, minerals, and crystals carry patterns that have formed over eons, shaped by temperature, pressure, and the slow, patient hand of time. Each crystal grows according to the rules written deep in its molecules, arranging atoms in repeating lattices that mirror the subtle mathematics of the universe. In this hidden world, order emerges naturally, without effort or guidance, as if the earth itself is an artist, sketching structures in stone. Consider a quartz crystal. Its six-sided prism reflects the internal arrangement of silicon and oxygen atoms, a pattern repeated endlessly at microscopic scales. Snowflakes fall from the sky in perfect hexagons, each arm tracing the same basic angles. Yet every flake remains unique. Even the jagged edges of a geode carry a quiet symmetry when examined closely, a reflection of the molecular order within. Nature creates these forms not to please the eye, but because the laws of physics guide the formation of matter. Yet, to our perception, these structures are poetry, frozen music in solid form. Crystals and minerals also tell stories. The veins of mica in a rock, the deep blue shimmer of azurite, or the fiery glow of garnet. Each speaks of its own history. They record heat, pressure, chemical interactions, and the slow passage of time. To hold a crystal is to hold a fragment of the Earth's memory, to touch something that grew over thousands, even millions of years. Each angle, each facet, is a frozen moment, a snapshot of nature's patient, intricate work. Self-organization is the quiet genius of these structures. At the atomic level, particles follow simple rules. Bonds form, angles adjust, and repeating patterns emerge spontaneously. What seems complex at a glance is the natural result of simple forces interacting consistently. A mineral's growth may be interrupted by temperature changes or impurities, yet it adapts, finding new ways to maintain order. Even apparent irregularities follow hidden patterns, a reminder that even chaos can produce beauty. The geometry of crystals also connects to human perception. We are drawn to regularity and repetition. The faceted surfaces of gemstones, the symmetrical patterns of snowflakes, and the orderly tessellations of mineral surfaces captivate us. Perhaps it is because these forms reflect the underlying mathematics that our minds instinctively recognize. They resonate with an internal sense of harmony, offering a quiet, meditative satisfaction that goes beyond simple aesthetics. Take a moment to imagine walking through a cave lined with stalactites and stalagmites. Each formation grows slowly, drip by drip, guided by gravity and mineral saturation. Some twist and spiral, others rise straight and true. In their variety, they maintain an elegance dictated by the slow forces that shape them. Even without color or sparkle, the geometry of stone can evoke awe, inviting contemplation of time, patience, and the subtle intelligence inherent in natural processes. Snowflakes drifting through winter air carry similar lessons. They are fragile, delicate, and ephemeral, yet each one is structured according to immutable principles of symmetry and molecular arrangement. Hexagonal shapes repeat in infinite variation, producing patterns that are familiar yet always new. Watching a snowfall is like glimpsing the invisible rules that govern matter, rendered in delicate ice. Every flake is a brief, shining proof that order and uniqueness can coexist. Crystals also connect the microscopic and macroscopic worlds. The lattice of atoms mirrors the angles of the whole crystal. The facets of a gemstone echo the symmetry found in snowflakes and certain minerals. Nature scales patterns up and down, repeating rhythms in ways both visible and invisible. This fractal-like behavior reminds us that geometry is woven into the fabric of reality, from the tiniest particle to the mountains themselves. Poetic reflection is easy when observing these forms. Each crystal carries the memory of its journey, a frozen story written in angles and light. Holding a piece of amethyst, you might sense the calm patience of geological time. Looking at a mineral-rich cliff face, you see a history written in layers, colors, and textures. Even the smallest fragment of quartz or calcite is a testament to order emerging from chaos, a gentle whisper that the universe favors structure and rhythm. As you rest tonight, imagine crystals forming silently beneath the earth, their geometry unfolding without hurry, without noise. Picture snowflakes spinning through the sky, each one a tiny, intricate sculpture. Feel the solidity and permanence of stone and the delicate fleetingness of ice, and notice how both carry the same language of angles, lattices, and repeating forms. In every facet, in every shimmer, the earth speaks in geometry, a quiet story of structure, resilience, and patient beauty. Through crystals and minerals, we glimpse the invisible laws that shape our world. We learn that order arises naturally, that structure can be beautiful without intention, and that every form, from the tiniest lattice to the largest boulder, holds a narrative. The ground beneath us is not merely solid. It is alive with geometry, a silent symphony that invites observation, wonder, and reflection. Each crystal carries the memory of its journey, a frozen story written in angles and light. And as you close your eyes tonight, imagine yourself cradling the patient, geometric heart of the earth, feeling the harmony that lies beneath your feet, and allowing the quiet order of crystals to soothe your mind. Look up, and the sky opens like a vast canvas, alive with shifting shapes and quiet patterns. Clouds drift and fold, star clusters shimmer across the night, and galaxies swirl in spirals far beyond imagination. From the fleeting shapes of cumulus clouds to the eternal dance of stars, the heavens reflect a subtle order, a rhythm that mirrors what we see on Earth. Patterns in the sky are a gentle reminder that nature's language is universal, stretching across scales from the smallest water droplet to the largest spiral of light. Clouds are among the first shapes we notice, floating effortlessly above us. Their forms are never static, always transforming, yet certain structures recur. Fluffy cumulus clouds gather in rounded towers, stratocumulus stretch in layered blankets, and cirrus drift like delicate brushstrokes of ice. The shapes we perceive may appear chaotic, yet they follow principles of fluid dynamics. Temperature, pressure, and wind sculpt their forms. Each cloud is a fleeting sculpture, a work of art that cannot be held, yet leaves its impression on the mind. Watching them encourages mindfulness, a quiet observation of impermanence and motion. As night falls, the sky shifts from shifting clouds to glittering stars. Star clusters, nebulae, and the Milky Way reveal a hidden geometry, a cosmic architecture of immense scale. Some stars gather in tight formations, forming familiar constellations. Others scatter like sparks from a cosmic forge. Spiral galaxies extend their arms gracefully, each curve echoing the proportions of nature we see in shells, flowers, and hurricanes. Across the universe, the same mathematical ideas, symmetry, spirals, and fractals, resonate from Earth to cosmos, connecting sky and soil in an unbroken thread. Spirals appear again and again in the heavens. The arms of galaxies twist gracefully, shaped by gravity and the flow of matter over billions of years. Spiral nebulae reveal the process of star formation, glowing clouds of gas and dust shaped by unseen forces. Even in apparent chaos, there is order. Spirals conserve angular momentum, clouds condense along predictable paths, and star clusters form according to gravitational attraction. The universe is both wild and disciplined, its rules producing shapes that captivate the human imagination. Poetic reflection emerges naturally. Look long enough at the night sky, and it begins to speak in shapes only the heart can read. The gentle curve of a spiral galaxy, the soft layering of clouds at sunset, the twinkle of distant stars, all convey rhythm and balance. Our eyes recognize harmony, and our minds sense narrative. Stars trace the story of creation, clouds whisper of impermanence, and the universe hums a melody of recurring forms. Even the randomness of scattered stars feels intentional, like a gentle reminder that beauty is not always orderly, yet patterns can emerge from seeming chaos. Fractals appear everywhere, linking sky and earth. The branching of lightning, the ripples of water, and the spirals of galaxies all follow self-repeating principles. Nature uses similar solutions across scales. Turbulence in clouds mimics turbulence in rivers, star formation echoes the clustering of particles, and the elegance of spirals repeats from snail shells to cosmic arms. Observing these connections evokes a sense of unity, a quiet awe at the invisible threads tying together the vast and the small. The sky also shapes our perception and emotion. Watching clouds drift can calm the mind, while the brilliance of stars can inspire wonder. Ancient humans recognized constellations as stories in the sky, mapping meaning onto patterns that transcended time. Today, science explains the mechanics, gas dynamics, gravity, nuclear fusion, but the poetry remains. Even with knowledge of physics, the sight of a nebula or a sweeping cloud formation evokes the same quiet reverence, a sense that the universe is speaking in a language beyond words. Meditative visualization helps deepen this connection. Close your eyes and picture yourself lying on soft grass beneath an open sky. Clouds drift above, morphing shapes as your gaze follows. As night falls, stars emerge, each one a pinpoint of history, light traveling across space and time to reach you. A galaxy spirals far away, its arms tracing gentle arcs that mirror the spirals of seashells on a beach. You feel a quiet resonance with the cosmos, a recognition that shapes are not merely visual. They carry rhythm, story, and memory. In both clouds and stars, we find reminders of impermanence and continuity. Clouds form and fade, stars are born and die, and galaxies collide and reform. Yet the patterns persist. Spirals recur, layers appear, and fractal forms repeat. Shapes in the sky are a meditation on time, scale, and the interplay of order and randomness. They encourage reflection. The same principles govern a falling raindrop, a growing tree, and a spinning galaxy. In this, there is comfort, a recognition that we are part of a continuum, observing and participating in the universe's endless creativity. Poetic reflection completes the thought. If you look long enough, the sky begins to speak in shapes only the heart can read. Clouds whisper of movement, stars shine with memory, and galaxies spiral with the poetry of physics. Each shape, from the ephemeral to the eternal, invites awareness and appreciation. As you carry these images with you, they remind you that patterns are everywhere, waiting quietly for attention, and that the universe expresses itself not just in events, but in forms, shapes that resonate with mind, body, and soul. Nature does not always arrange itself neatly. Sometimes, it delights in unpredictability, weaving forms that seem wild, irregular, and untamed. Rivers twist and tumble, lightning forks unpredictably, and coastlines curve in ways that defy simple explanation. Chaos is not absence of order. It is a deeper, subtler kind of structure, one that reveals patterns only when viewed closely, patiently, and with a quiet mind. Consider a river carving its way through a landscape. From afar, it appears as a smooth, winding line, yet up close, the flow is turbulent. Eddies spin, currents collide, and swirling vortices form without warning. Each ripple, each whirlpool, follows the laws of fluid dynamics, yet the overall effect feels spontaneous, alive, and unpredictable. The river's chaos creates beauty, intricate textures, glimmering reflections, and constantly changing shapes. Even in disorder, there is rhythm, a hidden language that emerges when observed carefully. Lightning provides another glimpse of nature's unpredictability. A single bolt splits into jagged branches, zigzagging across the sky in a pattern that seems random. Yet each fork obeys electrical physics, following paths of least resistance through the air. What appears chaotic is actually highly sensitive to initial conditions. Tiny differences in temperature, humidity, and ionization create entirely new patterns. This is the essence of chaos theory. Small variations can lead to vastly different outcomes, producing forms both surprising and mesmerizing. Coastlines, too, are sculpted by a mixture of regular forces and chaotic events. Waves, tides, erosion, and sediment deposition interact over centuries, creating jagged cliffs, smooth bays, and unexpected inlets. The irregularity of a coastline reflects both the persistence of natural processes and the influence of countless small, unpredictable events. Fractals appear here as well. Zoom in, and the jaggedness of a cliff mirrors the rough edges of a single rock. Zoom out, and the pattern repeats at larger scales. In chaos, repetition emerges unexpectedly, linking randomness to subtle order. Trees, too, follow both rules and unpredictability. Branches split in patterns that obey growth principles, yet environmental factors, wind, sunlight, gravity, introduce irregularities. No two trees are identical, yet all bear echoes of similar geometric forms, branching, spirals, and fractals. Even the randomness in their growth contributes to their beauty, giving forests their variety and richness. Chaos, then, is not destructive. It is a creative force, producing forms that are alive, adaptable, and endlessly interesting. Observing these unpredictable shapes encourages mindfulness. Instead of seeking perfect symmetry or regularity, we notice subtle patterns emerging from apparent disorder. A turbulent river may reveal whirlpools arranged in spirals. Lightning's jagged paths can inspire awe at its fractal complexity. Irregular coastlines encourage quiet contemplation of time, erosion, and the impermanence of landforms. By embracing unpredictability, we begin to see beauty in the unexpected. finding rhythm in forms that initially appear random. Poetic reflection deepens this understanding. Sometimes, the beauty of nature lies in its wild unpredictability, a reminder that not all shapes need an explanation to inspire wonder. Chaos is a teacher of patience, attentiveness, and curiosity. It shows us that complexity does not require human logic, and that patterns can emerge without conscious design. Randomness invites exploration, encouraging us to look closer, to appreciate details, and to recognize the subtle dance of forces at play. Even in the microscopic world, chaos shapes life. The folding of proteins, the flow of molecules, and the branching of blood vessels all contain elements of unpredictability. Tiny fluctuations at the molecular level can ripple outward, influencing the shape of cells, tissues, and entire organisms. Life itself emerges from a delicate balance of order and randomness, each form a product of countless interactions, some predictable, others surprising. Nature's complexity is an interplay of rules and freedom, an eternal negotiation between control and chance. Human creativity mirrors this natural chaos. Artists, musicians, and writers often rely on unpredictability to produce compelling work. An unexpected brushstroke, an improvisational note, or an unplanned metaphor. Just as rivers meander and lightning forks, creative forms benefit from irregularity. Chaos becomes a source of inspiration, reminding us that the most engaging patterns are often those that surprise us, those that invite attention, and those that cannot be reduced to a single explanation. Meditative visualization helps connect us with this principle. Imagine walking along a shoreline shaped by centuries of waves, watching a river tumble over rocks, or witnessing a lightning storm from a safe distance. Allow your mind to follow the twists, turns, and jagged paths, noticing the rhythms hidden within apparent randomness. Recognize the quiet order beneath the surface, the fractal repetition, the interplay of forces that create beauty from unpredictability. Let your awareness rest in these forms, accepting both their irregularity and their subtle patterns. Chaos is also a mirror for life itself. Not everything follows a linear path, and not every outcome is predictable. Yet even in the messiness, there is beauty. Every curve, fork, or twist carries meaning, revealing resilience, adaptation, and the dynamic energy of existence. By appreciating chaotic shapes in nature, we cultivate patience, openness, and a sense of wonder for the unpredictable aspects of our own lives. In the end, nature reminds us gently, patterns exist even in randomness, and structure emerges from seeming disorder. Rivers, lightning, coastlines, and branching trees all speak a language of unpredictability that resonates with the rhythms of life. By observing, reflecting, and breathing in these forms, we learn to see the hidden poetry in chaos. The world's irregular shapes invite reverence, curiosity, and quiet contemplation, teaching us that not every line needs to be straight, every curve regular, or every outcome certain to inspire wonder and connection. When you walk through a forest, sit by a stream, or gaze at the night sky, certain forms catch your attention. A spiral of a snail shell, the curve of a river, the symmetry of a leaf. They seem to resonate, to call to something deep within you. Our brains are wired to notice patterns, to respond to shapes with feelings of calm, awe, or delight. This connection between perception and geometry is ancient, rooted in both survival and beauty. Symmetry, for instance, is a signal that our senses recognize immediately. In human faces, animals, and flowers, balanced forms suggest health and vitality. Evolution has trained our eyes to detect irregularities that might indicate danger, disease, or imbalance. Yet symmetry is not only practical, it is comforting. A perfectly mirrored leaf or a butterfly's wings invites a quiet satisfaction, a sense of rightness that soothes the mind. Symmetry comforts us like a familiar melody, its repetition grounding and reassuring. Spirals evoke a different response. They appear in seashells, sunflowers, hurricanes, and galaxies, connecting the smallest scales of life to the vastness of the universe. Spirals suggest movement and growth, a continuous unfolding that feels both dynamic and harmonious. When you trace a spiral with your eyes, your mind senses expansion, flow, and the cyclical rhythm of life. Spirals are more than shapes. They are stories written in geometry, whispering of energy, time, and the patterns that underlie all living forms. Contrast and repetition also guide our perception. Sharp angles can create tension, gentle curves convey softness. Repeated forms, a row of trees, waves on a shore, or clouds drifting across the sky, invite meditation. Your mind recognizes the rhythm, anticipates the pattern, and relaxes in response. Beauty is often not about perfection, but about the balance between expectation and surprise, repetition and variation. Nature's designs teach us this subtle lesson every day in the shapes that fill our world. Our senses are finely tuned to notice these forms, not just with our eyes, but through touch and movement as well. The texture of a leaf, the grain of a rock, the contours of a shell, each carries shape information that the brain interprets. Running your fingers over a pine cone, tracing the ridges of a seashell, or feeling the curve of a smooth stone connects you to form in a physical way. Shape is both seen and experienced, engaging multiple senses to create a rich, embodied awareness of the world. Mindful observation enhances this connection. Imagine walking through a forest, breathing slowly, and letting your eyes wander. Notice the shapes of leaves and branches, the interplay of light and shadow, the patterns in moss and bark. See the spirals in a fern frond, the bilateral symmetry of a flower, the fractal branching of a tree. Notice how certain shapes draw your gaze, how others fade into the background. Allow yourself to respond, not with analysis, but with simple awareness and appreciation. Emotion and shape are intertwined. Certain forms calm us, soft curves, gentle waves, repeating patterns, while others alert or excite, jagged rocks, lightning forks, sharp contrasts. Architects and designers use this principle to shape experiences, consciously guiding attention and evoking emotion. In nature, these responses are spontaneous, yet they follow deep evolutionary pathways, connecting perception, cognition, and feeling. The shapes around us are part of a dialogue between our senses and the environment. Colors also interact with shape, enhancing our responses. A red flower against green leaves draws the eye not only for its hue but for the contrast of form. Light and shadow emphasize curves, highlight edges, and reveal textures. Movement adds another layer. Leaves rustling in the wind, water flowing, clouds drifting. Shape is never isolated. It is always intertwined with color, light, and motion, creating a multisensory experience that engages attention and emotion simultaneously. Consider the calming effect of repeating shapes. Walking along a path lined with evenly spaced trees, or observing waves rolling onto the shore, evokes a gentle rhythm. Your mind aligns with these repetitions, creating a sense of order and tranquility. Nature provides these subtle cues, teaching us that shape is not merely decorative. It shapes perception, influences mood, and connects us to the larger patterns of life. Even in the abstract, we respond to geometry. Patterns in the sky, the fractals of snowflakes, or the branching of rivers resonate with innate understanding. We recognize balance, proportion, and flow, even without knowing the underlying science. The senses are attuned to geometry, and through these forms, the world communicates with us in ways words cannot fully capture. Shapes become a language, subtle and silent, yet profoundly felt. Meditative visualization deepens this awareness. Imagine closing your eyes and recalling shapes you have noticed. A spiral shell, a jagged mountain, the symmetry of a flower. Let your mind linger on their forms, noticing the feelings they evoke. Sense how your attention moves along curves, pauses at angles, and follows repetitions. By engaging deeply with shapes, you cultivate perception, patience, and connection, allowing the world's geometry to become part of your inner landscape. In the end, noticing shapes is more than aesthetic appreciation. It is a form of mindfulness, a way of tuning into the rhythms of life. Symmetry, spirals, contrast, repetition, and fractals guide our attention and influence our emotions. Shapes carry meaning, energy, and stories, inviting observation, reflection, and connection. Through the senses, we enter a quiet conversation with the natural world, discovering that our responses to forms are ancient, instinctive, and deeply human. By observing shapes consciously, we learn not only to see, but to feel. We notice the hidden order, the balance and flow, the subtle rhythms that underpin life. Shapes become more than objects. They are teachers, companions, and reflections of the universe itself. Each form we encounter offers an invitation to slow down, to notice, and to respond with curiosity, wonder, and quiet delight. Everywhere you look in nature, shapes tell a story. The curve of a river, the spiral of a seashell, the symmetry of a leaf, they are not random, but the language of energy, growth, and evolution. Shapes are the fingerprints of life, whispers of processes that stretch across time and space, connecting the smallest cells to the grandest galaxies. Consider the spiral. From galaxies to ferns, from shells to hurricanes, spirals convey movement and expansion. They are nature's way of showing growth, flow, and continuity. When you trace a spiral with your gaze or your fingers, you are following the path of energy itself. Spirals speak of beginnings and endings, of cycles and renewal, and of life's endless unfolding. They are the echoes of processes that have been repeating for billions of years, visible and tangible in forms both vast and tiny. Symmetry tells another story. Bilateral symmetry in animals signals health and vitality, attracting mates and supporting survival. Radial symmetry in flowers allows efficient pollination, while rotational symmetry in starfish and seashells reflects structural balance. Symmetry reassures us. It is the form of order within the complexity of life. Yet nature never repeats exactly. Each instance carries subtle variations, reminders that perfection exists only in patterns, not in replication. Every leaf, every wing, every petal is both familiar and unique, comforting and surprising. Fractals are the storytellers of repetition and scale. Trees branch in patterns that echo rivers and lightning. Mountains rise in jagged formations reminiscent of coastline outlines. Each repetition contains smaller versions of itself, revealing connections between the micro and the macro. Fractals are a bridge across scales, a reminder that life's shapes are nested and recursive, that complexity emerges from simple rules repeated over time. Observing fractals is like listening to a quiet song that extends infinitely, a melody written in geometry. Crystals and minerals record the history of the Earth. Their lattice structures and geometric forms are snapshots of molecular arrangement, frozen in angles and light. Each crystal tells the story of heat, pressure, and time, carrying memory in its form. Even snowflakes, delicate and fleeting, inscribe a story of atmospheric conditions and molecular patterns. Shapes in the mineral world are nature's diaries, quietly preserving the processes that formed the world around us. Shapes in the sky remind us that stories extend beyond the Earth. Clouds drift in formations shaped by wind and temperature, sometimes forming patterns that echo terrestrial shapes below. Stars cluster in galaxies, tracing spirals and arcs that mirror the smallest patterns in shells and leaves. Observing the sky connects us to the vastness of time and space, revealing that the same forms emerge from the laws of physics, whether on a distant planet or in the curve of a river. The universe, in its infinite complexity, speaks in shapes that the heart can recognize even without words. Patterns also guide survival and behavior. Animals use shapes for camouflage, signaling, or attraction. Flowers advertise their pollen with symmetrical displays. Rivers carve meanders that support ecosystems. Shapes are not merely aesthetic. They are functional, practical, and adaptive, embodying the processes that sustain life. Every curve, angle, and spiral carries meaning, reflecting both the mechanics and poetry of existence. Even randomness has a role in life's story. Turbulent waters, jagged coastlines, and lightning strikes may appear chaotic, yet they follow hidden structures and patterns. Chaos is part of life's creativity, reminding us that unpredictability is essential for evolution, growth, and renewal. Nature's shapes are both ordered and wild, disciplined and free, a balance that allows life to flourish in endless diversity. Human perception connects us intimately to these forms. We respond to symmetry, spirals, contrast, and repetition with emotion and attention. Shapes influence how we feel, how we move, and how we think. They invite mindfulness and presence. By noticing shapes consciously, the curves of petals, the branching of trees, the contours of hills, we cultivate awareness, appreciation, and connection. Shapes are a bridge between the outer world and our inner life, a gentle teacher that invites reflection and wonder. Meditatively, you can imagine walking through nature with open senses. Let your eyes wander over spirals, symmetry, and fractals. Feel the textures of leaves, stones, and bark. Notice how your attention follows curves and edges, how your mind resonates with repetition and pattern. Shapes are alive. They guide your perception, whispering the story of life in a language older than words. Each form is a note in nature's symphony, every pattern a verse in an endless poem. Ultimately, nature's shapes tell the story of energy, growth, and transformation. They reveal the interplay of order and randomness, the cycles of life, and the echoes of evolution. They invite us to see, feel, and participate in the ongoing dance of existence. Every leaf, shell, crystal, cloud, and star is a storyteller. Every pattern is a reminder that life is a continuous act of creation, a whisper of the universe's endless creativity. As you pause to observe these shapes, notice how they connect you to the world. They are more than visual impressions. They are reflections of life's energy, of growth, of adaptation, of beauty. Shapes are the quiet storytellers of nature, carrying messages from the past, present, and future. Through them, we find connection to the planet, to other living beings, and to the infinite patterns that shape our universe. Every shape tells a story. Every pattern is a whisper of life's endless creativity. As you close this journey through the forms of nature, pause and breathe. Shapes surround us everywhere. The curve of a leaf, the spiral of a shell, the symmetry of a face, the lattice of a crystal, the swirl of a galaxy. They are the quiet language of life, the patterns that carry memory, energy, and story. From the smallest cells to the vast expanse of stars, shapes remind us that life is both orderly and wild, predictable and surprising. Every curve, every angle, every repetition is a whisper of nature's infinite creativity. By observing them, we learn not only about the world but also about ourselves. Our senses, our emotions, our connection to the endless dance of existence. Let this journey stay with you. Notice the spirals in clouds, the fractals in trees, the symmetry in creatures, and the chaos in rivers. Let your heart read the shapes that words cannot fully capture. In their silent poetry, you will find comfort, wonder, and a quiet reminder. We are part of this unfolding story, one pattern among countless others, and every shape is a voice in the symphony of life. The world is a gallery of whispers, a museum of living geometry. Pause, observe, and listen. Nature has been speaking in shapes all along, inviting you to see, to feel, and to marvel.